Attacked in Central Park, yet we saw a massive show of force today. I mean, why does crime have to get so bad before there's a major response? I mean, why not a couple months ago? Why is it always
Exactly. Cook. Let her cook. And let's hear what he gonna say, because how he controlling these migrants? That's what I want to hear.
feeling like it's damage control?
Safe and feel safe. A lot of people criticize me for saying that, but that's the reality. And we know these random acts of violence, like
How you gonna tell her? You telling New York? Man, we from New York. Talking about something. Be safe. All right, we're trying our best. Make it safe, bro. It ain't like you giving us firearms and all that. Like y'all still trying to figure out the laws behind that. Talking about be safe, nigga. You be safe. Something just happened where you live, so clearly it don't matter. Like what? What he talking about? Huh? What's happening?
person who
What up, YouTube? What up, YouTube? You clicked the title, you read the page, so I'm gonna just get to the point. Now, if you don't know, here's a fun fact, interesting fact. I'm from Brooklyn, all right? Shout out New York City, shout out my city, all right? I'm into the news now. It's like the older I get, I love the news. I don't know, I used to make fun of my parents for watching the news. I'm like, why are you guys watching that depressing stuff? And now look at me, I'm watching the news. I don't know, I guess it comes with age. Most of the crimes across New York, well, of course, America for that matter, they are involving migrants. The mayor in New York, Mayor Adams, he actually spoke on this. All right, so let's see what he had to say. Shout out to Fox 5 News. Let's get it. Shout out to Fox News. I'm going to get a little Fox 5 hat one day. I like Fox 5, man. Shout out to them.
Police are expected to be in place until the NYPD deploys drones at the end of the month in Central Park.
And Mayor Adams joins us now with the very latest. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Great to be here with you as well.
Starting off with the story that we just read, we're talking about that surge of police presence in Central Park. Wondering how long they're going to be there. I know we might have a little error there covering your face, but talk to us nonetheless. The police presence there, how long will they be there? Because it may not be feasible. You're going to leave yourself vulnerable in other parts of the city. This happened when there was crime in the subway. You surged the subway. So what's the plan with that?
And I'm so happy you stated that, because part of the problems we're seeing is a real decline in the number of people who are enrolling in the police department, and you have a limited number of manpower. What we have been good at doing as social events, special events, parades, we have been really minimizing the...
Well, people aren't applying for police jobs because y'all don't pay enough. That's real rap, man. Nobody want to risk their life for them little piece of change out here giving
personnel to make sure we can maximize coverage when we need to deploy, like the subway in Central Park. And so the team is going to be there. Chief Shanell has an excellent ability of knowing how do you go in, identify the problem, bring that large number of personnel there to identify and send the right message to stabilize.
Yo, and it's so funny because I did a vlog when I was in Central Park. Go get at that vlog. And I did it mainly for my women because a lot of the crimes involve women and stuff of that nature. So I was just saying, like, I did a vlog in Central Park showing y'all like the do's and the don'ts and just like some tips to be careful, because they have like a lot of these like little hidden tunnels and things that you can go under and people can't see you. So go get at that vlog. And I brought that up because I got a comment talking about, oh, you just looking for clout, Central Park isn't dangerous. Girl, look at this. It says overall major crime up 46% in Central Park. So what you talking about? And mind you, I did that video over like, I think like maybe 4 to 5 months ago. Either way, it's been dangerous. So go get at that vlog if you ever going to be in New York, and not just, you know, get educated. You feel me? Let's go.
The park. We know what Central Park means to us. It's a symbol as well as a safe haven for many New Yorkers.
I mean, you see this very large police presence, but how long can you actually maintain that kind of manpower? I mean, what happens a week from now, 2 weeks, a month? I mean, are we going to be having so many cops flooding Central Park? How long does this last?
No, not at all. It's called the surge. You identify when you're seeing a bump in crime similar to what we saw in the subway system. Remember, we had that bump in January. We surged the police there, and we now have robberies at the lowest in the recorded history of our subway system. That's similar here. It's a surge. It's a serious presence to let those bad guys that may want to frequent the park send a real message that that's not going to happen. And then we're going to infuse new forms of technology. That's a lot of acreage.
Yeah.
And some of it is off the beaten path, and we're going to see an experiment on how well drones can complement police presence as well.
Interesting. Well, I know that your message is that New York City is the safest big city, but this week alone, we've seen robberies in Central Park, a rape near Gracie Mansion, another rape on Coney Island. That indicates that crime is down. The stats indicate that. But your message to New Yorkers who are seeing this is what? Because this is giving them fear.
Something I've always said. You remember when I first came into office, when we were dealing with a 40% increase in crime and our homicides and shootings were up, I told the team and I said to the media, it's more than bringing down crimes. People must be safe and feel safe. A lot of people criticize me for saying that, but that's the reality. And we know these random acts of violence like
How you gonna you telling New York, man, we from New York, talking about something, be safe. All right, we're trying our best. Make it safe, bro. It ain't like you giving us firearms and all that. Like, y'all still trying to figure out the laws behind that. Talking about be safe. Nigga, you be safe. Something just happened where you live. So clearly it don't matter. Like, what? What are you talking about? Huh? What's happening?
Person who illegally entered our country, committed a rape, but that's the reality. And we know these random acts of violence, like the person who illegally entered our country, committed a rape in Coney Island. These random acts of violence, they play on our psyche.
Yeah.
But when you look at the stats, it's very clear. We're the safest big city in America, and we're going to continue to drive down crime. Double-digit decrease in homicides and shootings, the major crime categories. We know we have to continue to make sure that we stay the safest big city in America, even with these random acts of violence that we're seeing.
Well, Mr. Mayor, can you just kind of explain something to us? Because you were on this show with Bianca and I a few months ago when women were randomly getting attacked in Central Park, yet we saw a massive show of force today. I mean, why does crime have to get so bad before there's a major response? I mean, why not a couple months ago? Why is it always
Exactly. Cook. Let her cook. And let's hear what he gonna say. Because how he controlling these migrants? That's what I want to hear.
feeling like it's damage control?
No, to the contrary. As I shared with you, we had a 40% increase in crime when we took office. And I gave you the stats on how well this city is doing. Always want to do
You
more.
keep talking about, all right, we understand that. You keep saying that. We get it, 40%. But let's talk about this 46%. Like, let's talk about that.
When it comes down to these random acts of violence. But I also want to be clear with New Yorkers. We don't have the police personnel that we've had years ago. We're struggling to fill academy classes. We're struggling with our correction officers. We have code red there. We're struggling even with district attorneys. We have a real problem in the city and country and our criminal justice apparatus. And so we would love to have a police officer on every block. But the reality is when you're dealing with terrorist threat, you're dealing with thousands of protesters and marches, particularly after October 7th, and you're dealing with a host of other events. You have a minimum amount of manpower, and you have to be smart how you deploy
Let me
it.
ask you something about that, because you're saying we may not have the staff, but we do have the law. When it's enforced, obviously it would make us feel safe. Because we're talking about someone like Daniel Martinez, an illegal Venezuelan who has gang ties, arrested 22 times. 22.
Exactly. Talk about the illegal migrants. Talk about, like, you see how he tried to, like, skate a nine. I like her. She brought it right back. All right, yeah, so back to the migrants. Yeah, W her.
About someone like Daniel Martinez, an illegal Venezuelan who has gang ties, arrested 22 times, 22 crimes in 6 months, has never been deported. What happens then? Because you're arresting these people, but obviously it's not preventing them from committing more crimes.
I'm so glad you're saying that, because you have joined the choir. I've been singing this song for some time, and I actually wrote the song. When you look at who assassinated and killed one of our officers out in Rockaway, Jonathan was shot by someone that was arrested over 20 times. Here you have a person that illegally came into our country, committed a sexual assault act, was released and came back and did it again. I am clear that we need to look at our laws that allow a person not to be turned over to ICE after they serve their time for a violent felon. I don't believe we should be allowing them to be a safe haven and continue to prey on innocent New Yorkers.
You know, speaking of the migrant crisis, I mean, we've seen a rise in violence at many of the shelters
Okay, so, you know, there you have it, guys. It sounds, you know, it's above him at this point. So we just got to keep complaining, and I don't know, man. We got to pray.
across the city, most recently Randall's Island. Now, you said that this will not be tolerated, but what's being done to address that crime?
Well, we have several shelters like the Herc. We have Creekmore, we have Floyd Benefield, we have what you're looking at on Randers Island. You look at these locations, you're having 3,000 to 4,000 people located in a small area that they cannot do anything but sit around all day. That's a recipe for disaster. I've been saying that for over 2 years now, that we need to give people the ability to work. We need to allow them to take the next step on their journey. We have been successful in what we're doing. Our population in our care is now down to about 65,000 out of the 212,000 that have arrived at our city. And so we have to continue our law enforcement presence, send the right message to those small numbers who are violent.
Mayor,
overwhelming number want to go on with their next step.
Let me ask you a question, though, because the migrant crisis is now costing the city almost $5 billion. This is according to city stats.
$5 billion. The migrant crisis is costing New York City almost $5 billion. $5 billion.
When you look at what we're spending on New Yorkers who need affordable housing, that's $2 billion. So right now we are not prioritizing New Yorkers who live here and need homes. We're prioritizing illegal migrants.
Man, this is sad, man. Like, come on, because we can't even afford to live in our own city. That's why most of us is moving out of state. That's why I moved to Jersey in the first place 3 years ago. You feel me? So it's like New Yorkers can't even afford to live here, but y'all got, that should just, let her talk her shit. Let me shut up.
What are you saying on New Yorkers who need affordable housing? That's $2 billion. So right now we are not prioritizing New Yorkers who live here and need homes. We're prioritizing illegal migrants. What are you saying to people that are like, this doesn't work for our budget? And I know you've said this before, that you do not believe that migrants should be added under that umbrella clause of the right to shelter. That's been held up in courts. Where are we at with that?
Okay, first let's go back. I'm not prioritizing migrants over New Yorkers, and I think that's a myth that needs to be dispelled. Migrants are living in tents with outside facilities. We have broke records on the amount of affordable housing we built for New Yorkers and invested $26 billion. No other administration has done that before. I can't stop buses coming in. Federal law doesn't allow me to do that. City law tells me I have to feed 3 meals a day, house them, educate 40,000 children. City law also states that I cannot have them removed when they commit a crime. I can't break the law to fulfill the law. We need to look at these laws that have stated—
Which is being held up in court, right? So where are we at with the right to shelter? That law is being held up in court right now. So where are we at with that?
Well, we have been able to, based on what the judge's ruling, we've been able to put in place a 30-day rule, which has never been put in place before. We treat migrants different from longstanding New Yorkers. After 30 days, single adults have to move on to the next step of their journey. That was never in place before. We were able to get that settlement in court.
Really quickly before we go, Mr. Mayor, you're heading to the DNC next week to talk about immigration. I mean, this is an issue that VP Harris is not so hot on. What's your message going to be?
Well, the message to the DNC is more than just immigration. The things that are facing Americans in New York is affordability and public safety. Those are two
right, like we can't afford to live, bro. We can't afford to get sick. We can't afford to do nothing, bro. This is sad, bro. We living in our last days.
Huge issues. I think that we have to secure our border and come up with a real plan of allowing people to be disseminated throughout the entire country where we have population problems, but at the heart of it is allowing people to work. That's a precursor to the American dream, your ability to work.
All right, New York City Mayor, thank you so much.
And work and it be worth it. Don't be we're having us work for change, man. Y'all subscribe for the vibe. I'm out.